How do you create something that's different than everyone else? You do it differently than everyone else. Here at Copeland Creative, we specialize in telling captivating stories of wild people, wild things, and wild places. We don't just capture the story, we immerse ourselves in it. We are a diverse, multi-talented media house based in North Georgia, and if you have a story that needs told, we want to help you tell it.
Names are pretty easy.
Yeah.
Copeland, Porter, Currington.
I get Corrington a lot.
Yeah, I could see that.
Other than that,
Does
Weird.
anybody ever mispronounce
or
your name?
Clint.
Ever?
I get Clint.
No.
I get Clint a lot at Chick-fil-A because I say Clay, and then they hear.
Oh, I get Taylor. Believe it or not.
You do.
You do?
When I say Caleb, people hear Taylor. All the time, actually.
You do look like a tailor.
Well, no, it's usually when I I'm on the phone with somebody and I was like, and they're like, "What is your name?" And I'm like, "Caleb," and they'll say Taylor. I'm like, "No, Caleb." Doesn't sound like Taylor. I've had that happen probably 10 or 15 times.
I literally have to start like, and I'll shake people's hands. My name's Clay, like the dirt. I have to, or I'll get Clint all the time. Brad called me Clint for like the first 3 days I was in Iowa.
Come on, killing me.
Nick wants to know, the real question is, has Copeland encountered any new places in the U.S. where they don't eat chicken biscuits?
Yeah, there's
The
lots
West.
of everything out of the southeast. Everything outside the southeast, they don't eat chicken for breakfast. It's baby back bull crap.
Yeah, I didn't grow up eating that.
It's these Westerners, man, you got to watch out for.
I ate like cereal and oatmeal and eggs and bacon and things for breakfast. Not really. Chicken wasn't really a breakfast food in Colorado.
Yeah, where Matthews is, I was talking to Brad's son, Braden. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, we just got a Chick-fil-A like 2 months ago. That's my favorite place ever." I'm like, "Sorry, you're behind the times, bud."
Yeah, they're finally getting Jesus out there in
We're 20
Northland.
years late. Hot take from Chris. He says Georgia chicken and waffles isn't real chicken and waffles. Or
He's
you have to say that again. There you go.
He doesn't want to hear my reply.
What are we talking about today?
Saying yes. You'll understand once we start talking about it.
Unfortunately,
That's wrong, Chris.
Well, we're going to hop on over to the YouTube side of things. So if y'all want to keep hanging out and watch the podcast, we'll be on YouTube now. Just search up Redneck Tech Podcast on there, and it should come up. And we are going to be live because I still haven't figured out how to run the board audio through this, and I'm not going to hold this the whole time. I just won't do it. So, I mean, unless somebody wants to send me a check for like $500, I would do it for that, but not for free. Because that would, I don't know, maybe Clay would, because Clay's likes to work out, and he has big arms and shit, so, and crap. Well, that's live. That'll come out in the wash. We'll delete this entire video, and only 4 people would have known that I cussed. Sorry, guys. Hope nobody's children were watching. Anyways, we're heading over to YouTube. We will see you there. Peace out.
Ryer, I made a life-changing decision a couple weeks ago.
We know.
You'd be bigger.
We know.
Bigger
No,
than that.
it
No,
can't be
bigger
bigger
than
than
that. Bigger than that.
Are you
Bigger
going
than
to
that.
announce that?
No, bigger than that.
Are you going to announce that one, though?
I got Spotify.
Oh, finally. You're using the worst music streaming platform on the face of the
Well, they just went
earth.
up. It just went from $14.99 a month to $16.99 a month.
I don't
my
care,
family
though.
plan.
I don't care.
Oh,
No,
mine's only
no.
$9.
Apple did.
Oh, Apple
So
did?
I might cancel it and go to Spotify.
Yeah, get rid of Apple. It sucks.
I was
Apple
on
Music,
I was on
everything else.
Amazon Music.
Yeah, who even does that?
Well,
and,
it's free with Prime, so
and it was
I never.
it's so bad, though.
Yeah.
It's
Like
so
a
bad.
song will come out and you have it for like 2 months, and they're like, "Nah, you got to pay $11.99 a month now to get that song."
Yeah, it's and like we would look up artists and they would not have. They would have like the knockoff songs.
Yeah.
And not even like for artists that I
Like the Weird Al Yankovic version of the song?
No,
like the live version.
yeah,
of the
they
song.
like
Oh.
wouldn't have, and you couldn't. I know albums, and so I would go look up. Okay, I want to listen to this album, and you'd go there, nothing. But it has like some stupid album that nobody wants
like
from that
the
artist.
2022 country artist mixtape where all the kids sing it. They would have that
Crap
version
like
of it.
Yeah, they
How
have kids
disappointed
pop.
would you be if you pay for like a Garth Brooks album and it's Ryer singing it?
I would be disappointed.
I'd be like, who is this? Is not Garth Brooks.
Well, it's like sometimes you'll be thinking you'll be looking up songs or something, and you'll think you've got it, and then it'll start playing, and you're like, this doesn't. It kind of sounds like it, but
it's
like
not.
it's not.
It's like a little faster
You're
or
like,
a little
"No,
slower.
This is a little
Tim
weird.
Tim said he's still working off the Pandora Premium.
Yes. You got to respect that.
You know what I do?
He said Spotify's for podcasts only.
First of all, I don't listen to any
I
podcasts
said
on
don't get
Spotify.
Ryer
I
on
do.
the soapbox. I do listen to. I do
do.
because I listen to Rogan on there.
I just hate the layout. Like if they
So
would
you
help
already
the
have
layout.
Spotify, but you don't
so you like
use
the
it?
music layout, but you hate the podcast layout. I hate the
Yeah.
podcast layout on Apple. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I,
It's so hard to search.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's hard to search. You
Yeah.
can't
The
like
best-
keyword search.
The best app that I ever had was like literally a
LimeWire?
No,
LimeWire.
it was like it's basically an RSS feed app, and it was made specifically for podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd go find your podcast.
And then somebody bought it and screwed it up.
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't listen to that many podcasts right now, so I
I've
Doesn't
got on a
matter.
book kick. I've been listening to book kicks. Amazon music guy here from Devon, Dickenhart.
okay. Well, y'all need to get Spotify.
Yeah, trust me. Just get Spotify.
See,
I just
do you
got-
see how much better it is.
I just
now?
got tired of Ryer yelling at me because I didn't have a certain music or song, and then
Well,
he would
and-
connect his phone, then I'd have to listen to his crap. So it's better
got-
to pay $9.99.
I've
than-
got
That's
to
not
create a
true. We
whole
have
new
good
playlist.
stuff.
I've been working on my Apple playlist for a long time, and I just
Oh
when
no!
I find a song,
25 songs gone.
I'll have you know, I've had several people do long road trips with me, and they said they were very impressed with how diverse my playlist is.
Mm.
I'm just saying, you're the only person that's ever complained, ever in the history of ever.
I listened to opera last night on
You-
my, and-
well-
on my truck. So
All we gotta do is look at you and know how weird you are and your music tastes.
yeah, but
I was just listening
well,
to some.
hold on though. If we're gonna talk about music taste right now, real quick.
We're not
If
talking
we're
about
just
music
gonna get
taste.
into that, if you're just gonna bash my music taste,
I'm not
where
bashing
do you
your
find
music
all your
taste.
good songs? In my downloads.
I have you
In
know.
my downloads.
No,
That's where he
no,
finds
you
the
weren't.
songs.
You weren't here. He's editing the song that I've already.
One song.
Doesn't
ever.
matter. That doesn't matter.
How many have you ripped from me?
Hey,
Like
I
this is
didn't-
what
all I know-
Caleb does. He goes
all I
into
know
a
is
project and he
that-
goes to Soundstripe and he goes to the project.
I don't
says,
ever go to
"I've edited."
Soundstripe. I didn't ever go to Soundstripe.
Whatever. Epidemic. I use all of them. So Soundstripe, Epidemic Sound, Artlist. It doesn't matter. He goes in. He doesn't even look at the new music. He goes straight to the videos.
That is not true.
And he goes through my playlist of the
the
things that I
songs,
pulled.
the songs he edited in that All Dad Hunt, I guarantee you, he got from his master song folder that have already previously been downloaded, and he just searched through it.
No, I actually downloaded every one of those but two. And Ryer was editing to a song in his office the other day, and I stuck my head in the door, and I was like, I'll have you know, I've already edited this particular song. Because you call me out on it every time I do it to
And-
you, and I will
And Ryer
daggum
went-
let you
Ryer
know.
went,
no, it must
No,
have been-
he goes, it just means my edit's going to be better. I'm like, I'm telling you that every time you tell me that now. That's what you're going to get from me. That's the reply you're going to get from me. I'm going to use your own medicine against you.
You can, but
Awesome.
you go to church, and what does the Bible say about lying?
That you shouldn't do it.
So just keep that in mind.
So,
Get Spotify music, anyways. It's way better. Even Clay says so.
Redneck Tech Podcast is about to go exclusive on Spotify, so just go ahead.
Yeah, we've,
Yeah.
we've signed a $0.0 million deal.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Speaking of podcasts, let's actually roll into our actual podcast. All right. Here we go.
The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by Mike'sArchery.com. They're a one-stop shop for virtually everything archery, bow hunting, and for your next outdoor adventure. Mike's Archery has been at the top of the archery game for over 50 years, and they want to give listeners of the Redneck Tech Podcast 10% off their entire online store using the code REDNECK10, all one word. Just put the code in before you check out, and your boys will hook you up. The guys at Mike's have always been good to us, and now they can be good to you too. Visit Mike'sArchery.com and get your gear now.
Right here. Right here. Right here. Right here. Yeah. You want it? Yeah. All right, Redneck Tech Podcast, episode 161. I'm pretty sure, 161. And the title of this podcast, I can't talk today. The title of this podcast is going to be called Saying Yes. And I haven't got to put as much thought into this as I wanted, but this is probably going to turn into more than one podcast or more than one conversation going down the road, because this is something that I'm very passionate about. Ryer and I have talked about this, and I'm sure Clay is going to be as passionate about this as we are, just because I know the kind of person he is as well as the kind of person that Ryer is. And Keegan, if he was here, he would be right on the bandwagon with us. But
I'd venture to say that there a lot of people who are doing this professionally full-time probably are in the same boat as all of us.
So here's the thing. If you are someone out there who has been one of those people, and you know who you are if you're one of my friends listening, that has told me over the years, you're jealous of, the job that we have and the places we get to go and the hunts we get to go on. If there's ever an opportunity for me to get to go, let me know. And then when I called you and asked you to go and you didn't go, this podcast is for you. 100% for you. All right. We're probably not going to be talking about much production at all. This is probably going to be more of a rant from me than anything. But I want to dive into what saying yes means and the value of saying yes, virtually no matter what. And when I say yes, I mean saying yes to adventure, saying yes to opportunity, saying yes to something outside your comfort zone, saying yes to almost anything that intrigues you, no matter what. And when I say no matter what do I mean by that? So first thing I want to get into, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, is the reason that people say no. Okay, so the reason that people say no, all right, let's back up even further. I'm going to give the example of what has happened to spur this podcast idea rant from myself. So I did an elk hunt in September. We didn't kill an elk, got our butts kicked, whatever. Still had a great time. We're an elk every day. I've done a handful of elk hunts on my own now. And I plan on doing several other hunts on my own over the next couple of years, because I got into this business because I enjoyed hunting. So with that being said, a couple of my buddies in particular, you know who you are. I love you. I still do love you. But this podcast is directly directed at you because I'm still mad about it. They've asked me for years. I've always wanted to go do a hunt out west. If I can ever go with you, if I can ever go do a cool hunt, let me know. I let them know. And you know what they tell me? Well, I've got this house project. I've got this with my kids. I've got this thing at work. Just can't make it happen. Or, I just can't afford that right now, or it's not in the plans. The wife this, the girlfriend that, the church is doing this. Okay, I've heard every excuse known to man. I'm lucky enough to have a job that I can be fairly flexible, but hunting season is by far our busiest season and when I need to be the most available. And I try and make time to do it. I didn't get to go on an elk hunt last year, just didn't have the time. This year, honestly, probably shouldn't have. I did anyway. But saying yes, no matter what, is what has to happen in order for you to get to do things. And I put in the description of this podcast, everyone has the same excuses. Stop letting life get in the way of living. And what I mean by that is the excuse that you made to not go do that thing that you've always wanted to do, everybody else has that same excuse. I have that same excuse. Clay has that same excuse. Ryder had that same excuse. We all have things in life. We all have bills to pay. We all have everything. Everything that you have, everyone else has too. So stop using that crap as an excuse. If you have an opportunity to go somewhere, to do something, to see something, to try something, to meet someone, you have to say yes. Because every time you say no, less people are going to ask you to go. Every time you say no, people are going to know you as a no person, and they're not going to ask you anymore. I've got a couple people I'm not going to ask anymore. I'm tired of asking them. I've given them every opportunity in the world to go do the things that they say that they want to do, But then when I go to ask them, they don't want to go. And I understand there's extenuating circumstances. I understand that there's things that happen. So does everybody else. You have to make the time. You have to do it. You have to go. And I know Ryer and I talked about this. And you said you're like a huge proponent of always saying yes to no matter what it is, even wacky stuff. Like you say yes probably more than I would even say yes to things.
Probably.
So like, what is your like take on this? Because it pisses me off that there's always an excuse. There's always it's just not going to work out this time. Well, then it didn't work out the 5 times before that either. If it ain't ever going to work out, if it's not going to work out this time, it's never going to work out. That's how I feel about it. It's like if you keep making the excuse, sorry, I can't do 2 things at once. If you keep making the excuse of, well, I have stuff to do in life, so does everybody else. Like what is really holding you back? Most people, I really think it's the unknown.
They don't
Okay.
like being uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable, unknown, and uncomfortable. They don't want to be that. You know, but how hard is it? And I've had this conversation with Nicole too, like traveling. You know, lots of people don't get to travel. Well, traveling for us is nothing now. Before I started doing this job, like for me to say, get in the truck and drive to Kansas, that's a lot. Now it's like, that's nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
When we're leaving now, we can leave at 4, whenever we just go. But that's taken years and years and years of just saying yes and just going and making the time and figuring it out and driving through the night and sleeping in the truck, sleeping in a crappy hotel, not sleeping, whatever. But, I looked at that, and what made me want to do this podcast even more is I looked at that board in my office, the map, the map that's got all the pins in it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this for, going on 11 years now. There's a lot of pins in that map.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of yeses in that map. A lot of them were work, but there's a lot of times it's like, you want to go here and try this thing? Yeah, let's go. Let's figure it out. And with very little other plans than that. And there's so many of them that I have so many memories, which is another reason, I've got some ideas if we ever do get to build this new office, like some really cool ideas in the entryway of the office to be able to tell some of those stories and relive some of those stories. But the only reason those things happen, sit down. Sorry, my dog is going to be a pain in the butt all podcast. The only reason we got to do that is because I said yes. So you were telling me a story about one of the examples that you had about saying yes. It was something about like it was with Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I can credit probably my entire career, the past 7 years of doing this, to saying yes to kind of an unknown opportunity. For those of you who don't know, I know a lot of you guys have heard this story, and I've told it a few times, but I did not grow up hunting. I don't have a background in photography, videography, video editing. I wasn't like I was techie enough. I was techie, as techie as the average bear, but I wasn't like I wasn't a video gamer. I wasn't a guy who built computers. Nothing. Like I knew how to use computers to do the basics that you would need to do at college, and that was about it. And when I had my life kind of mapped out in an entirely different direction, and I was kind of working towards something else when just by chance I met with the guy that I previously worked for, Mark Ruppy, out of California, and my basically what was set up was my mom got me a meeting with this guy because she was being a mom and trying to help me get a good job and a career and this, that, and the other. And she had heard that there was some guy who needed help with something, and she was like, oh, well, maybe we'll set it up with my son, having no idea what it was or anything. And so I said yes to going to meeting with the guy. First of all, all I knew is that it was like something kind of outdoorsy, and that it could be a ranch, it could be a farm, it could be construction, it could be who knows, it could be anything. So I said yes to going to meet with the guy, even though I already had a job and everything. It was like, well, what can I hurt? Go meet with the guy. So I go meet with him. I drive to his house, and we get to talking. And of course, he asked me the typical questions you'd ask anybody if you're looking for somebody to do this: is have you hunted before? To which I said no. Had you ever filmed before? I said no. He said, have you ever done photography? And I said, well, I did a class in 8th grade, but I can't say I was really focused on the photography part of the class. In fact, I think I came out with a B.
Wasn't it because of the chick that was in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that story.
Yeah. So I got a B in middle school photography. So now look at me now.
Have that in middle school.
And he asked me if I ever edited before, and I said no, I've never touched any of that stuff. And he kind of explained to me what he was looking to do. He wanted to have a hunting TV show, which I had never even seen, didn't even know those existed.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking for somebody to film and edit and do that kind of stuff. And he was like, does it sound like something you'd be interested in at all? And I said, I don't really know. Like, I've never done any of that stuff, but I mean, it sounds interesting enough. I've always wanted to go hunting, I just have never had anybody to go with. And, I don't know if I'll be any good at the filming or anything, but hey, I can try. And he said, well, I got this hunt that another guy shot last year, an elk hunt it was. And it was on a hard drive and a laptop. He had a MacBook. And he said, do you want to just take a look at it, take it home for a couple weeks and mess around with it and see what you got? And I said, sure, why not? So I took the laptop and I took the hard drive and I went home and I started teaching myself at that. I think for a day and a half I tried to use iMovie, and then I was researching how to use iMovie and stuff, and I saw that you might as well just learn how to use Final Cut Pro. So I was like, I'll just use Final Cut because I was on the computer. And so over the course of 2 weeks, I kind of taught myself the basics of how to edit, and I put together this video, and it was horrific. I don't even know where it is right now. I'd like to go get it and find it. It used to be on YouTube. I removed it because it's real bad.
You can still find all my stuff if you know where to look. It's still real bad.
Yeah, it's real bad. Also, I think there's probably like 5 copyright violations in there. It's just like, I didn't know what I didn't know. And anyways, I brought back the video. And he was like, oh, it's okay. And so he had some more footage. And so I think for the next maybe month, I kind of just was cutting on random stuff for him. And then he asked me if I wanted to go up to the ranch and film him bow hunting some hogs up there. And I said yes. And we went up there and bow hunted hogs, and I filmed it and we edited it. And I think maybe I did it 5-6 months kind of part-time. And then he wanted to have a meeting with me, and we sat down, and he asked me if I wanted to go full-time. He said he couldn't pay me very much money, but, it'd be something where there was a potential to grow and potential to keep learning and do this, that, and the other. And at the time, I was still, like, kind of working towards going in the Air Force, but I thought, well, I've been enjoying it so far. What's it hurt to give it a year?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I could do it for a year. If I like it and I'm good at it, cool. Maybe that's a career path to explore. If it's something that I don't like, or I'm not good at it, or I just would still rather just go to the Air Force, well, I would have been maybe 21, 22 at the time, just enlist again, like I had been planning. So, I said, yeah, I'll do it. And so quit my job, started doing that. And I mean, that was 7 or 8 years ago now. And, I think just that kind of initial grouping of yeses was really what spurred me down this path. And then, of course, continuing to say yes to opportunities as they come along, and just always being willing to go and do the things. Because, I mean, at almost every turn in this job, I'm doing things that I've never been exposed to, never done before, don't know anything about. Going places that I've never been, meeting people I've never met, like all that kind of stuff. And like you said, there's a lot of people who, in the face of things that are unknown, their gut reaction is
scared to death.
No.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know what's happening, if I don't know where I'm going, if I don't know what to expect,
Fear of the unknown.
If I don't know what to prepare for, if I don't feel confident that in the situation, then I'm not going to go. And I think that if my default mode was that, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, my default mode is I'll just figure it out.
Mhm.
I've always been like that. If I have enough confidence to be like, I'll figure it out when I need to. And so even if I don't know what I'm getting into, or if I don't know how to do it yet, I'll say yes and figure it out.
Do you think that what you just said kind of struck me? Do you think the confidence has something to do with it? Like confidence in yourself to, in an unknown situation, you could figure it out? Because I'm the kind of that way too, which I guess, I mean, maybe at the beginning I wouldn't have been, but like for me to throw someone into a situation, you know, thinking of myself like, hey, I want to go put you in a, I don't know, some sort of scenario that's uncomfortable to you. You know, but I would have confidence in myself to be like, you know what? I have enough personal skills. I have enough smarts and enough, you know, self-reliance and drive to be like, you know, I'll figure it out. You know, I might not do the best job in the world, but I'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll do my very best. And I think maybe that has something I hadn't thought of like, how much would that confidence in yourself have to do with being able to say yes? Because I mean, I've talked to people that they're just literally scared to death to go outside of this 3-county area to hunt because they just think they're walking into something that they don't. And I'm thinking about hunting specifically because that's kind of where this started. But I mean, I think this goes into so many other avenues to where it's like, whether it's going to, you know, a new area to go, you know, like you've been going to a lot of concerts in random places. Like that's something I would never do.
Yeah.
Because that is very unknown to me. It's not something I've ever done. That's not something I personally would probably say yes to. That is something I don't have confidence in, is large groups of people that I don't know. I don't like that. That's not my thing. But I'm sure I've missed out on opportunities because I haven't said yes to things in the past. Like I was never a guy that grew up going to parties or going to do things like that in college. And I look back on that and I kind of regret it a little bit just because I feel like I missed out on a lot of good times with friends of mine and like closer relationships that I probably missed out on because I wasn't willing to do that. But like I even look at it in terms of that, like being able to say yes to anything that interests you, anything that you might not know interests you, but is just literally a complete unknown. But, you know, being able to say, you know what, I'll give it a shot. What do you got to lose? You got a little bit of your time. Like that's kind of what I'm saying, is like letting the outside factors of your life get in the way of living a fulfilled life, regardless. Like you can always make more money. I mean, Clay's a perfect example. Clay used to work in finance. You made a lot more money than you made now. You know, I obviously can't pay you what you made in finance. Which one would you rather do?
Oh, not finance.
Exactly. So it's like you can always make more money. Like there's opportunities for us to make more money every day. We talk about new projects that are coming out of this, ways that we can raise all the ships. I'm always trying to figure out a way to say yes to the right projects. Now, I don't want to say yes to everything. I think we've gotten to the place where we can say no to some things that we don't want to do. But I even think it comes down to like the simple things. Like, you know, I've never done that before. Yeah, I'll do it.
Well, I think that there's like you said, there's a level of confidence, and I think some of that is, I mean, some of it is like how you were raised.
Yeah.
I was raised in a very confident family.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that, luckily. Some people aren't raised like that, so it's inherently more difficult. I think there's also an aspect of a fear of failure that stops a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And then I think that there's a base level curiosity, you know. So I think the confidence is something where if you don't have it, you can build it. Like there are things that I wouldn't have been confident enough to say that I could do 5 years ago that I can do now, and now I'm able to rely on the skill set that I've built
Mm-hmm.
to kind of have a little bit more confidence, right? I've taught myself how to edit and shoot photos and shoot video,
But
to the extent to where I'm confident. I've basically shown myself that I can be confident in this area.
yeah,
And the same thing with a lot of stuff. I think you can teach yourself that confidence, even though it may be uncomfortable at first. But I think that as you put yourself out there and start doing things and start realizing like, oh, I do have that capability. Like you have to push yourself almost like weightlifting. Like maybe there's a
muscle you have to work out.
Yeah, maybe there's a PR you're going for and you haven't done that PR yet, right? And like I remember when you first start lifting weights, doing weight that you have not done feels like an insurmountable obstacle. You're looking at this weight and you're like, there's no way I could do that, right? But after, lifting and then deciding, hey, I'm going to get under that bar and try that weight. And you do that weight for the first time and you go, oh, I do have the ability to push my body further than I have in the past. And you build that confidence. And then the next time you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. And every time you try to reach past your current capabilities and you succeed or you get better, you basically build that confidence to be able to do that. That's why when you talk to really elite athletes and elite lifters, like they're able to get under the bar to do weights that they haven't done before.
Yeah, but
I think it's the same thing with anything else.
But you're also building confidence for other things. Now it wouldn't be a stretch for me to, ask you or you say, hey, we've got a project that is completely not hunting related. It's underwater basket weaving.
Something not
whatever
hunting related. Yes.
But it'd be like, hey, we got to go tell a story of this person in wherever doing this thing that we've never done before. Mm-hmm. We know nothing about. Cool. Do some research and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is a form of complacency too. Like they're so comfortable with where they are and who they are and what they've been doing that they don't even just care to learn or expand anything. Like my dad has hunted in Georgia his entire life, and we don't have that farm anymore, and now he just has no drive to go anywhere and hunt because it's like, no, I'm just not comfortable with that. Big cornfields and no, I like.
See, I can kind of relate that to my dad too. My dad, grew up hunting in Georgia with us, and once we get old enough to hunt by ourselves, he didn't really hunt anymore. And then I got him a bow, and he went on his first bow hunt. Now he's like, I want to do everything now. Right. It would took that spark of me handing him that bow and saying, you're going to learn how to do this and you're going to go. Right. He went on the first one, and now he's like, every year he's like, hey, where are we going to go hunting this year? Right. I took him to Montana and did the turkey last year. He's like, now he wants to go again. He wants to figure it out. Like he's looking at new adventures, new places to go.
And I wonder, coming off of that, I wonder if it's like when we're younger, we have our parents or our guardian or someone that takes us new places to show us new things, and then we get to the age that we're at, and it's like we don't have that person that takes us and does that new thing with us or whatever.
Well, you also don't have that safety net, right? When you go to do it by yourself, there's not the safety net of your parents, or there may not be the safety net of somebody who's done it before. Right? Like how much more willing are you to go do something if you have a buddy who's been there and done that, right? Like,
we'll see that.
Like if you
I've given that opportunity to my buddies.
Right. I mean, and I think we're in a slightly different conversation right now than the just saying yes part.
No, I agree.
But I mean, I think that that's where just having that, having built that self-confidence muscle comes in handy.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're like, I'll figure it out. You have enough confidence to be like, oh yeah, I'll figure it out. It might take me a little bit longer than everybody, or it might take me a little bit of failure, or it might be a little bit
what do you
difficult.
think? What do you think is that breaking point for someone, even thinking of yourself, which I don't think there's really much anything you would say no to, but like I'm thinking like myself, and maybe Clay would be a good one to answer to, but like what would be something that you would say no to? But
skydiving.
Well, I know that, but what would be the thing?
Don't want to
like,
do it.
Well, like a good example, I guess maybe would be Brian. Like we went out there and like Brian wouldn't walk up to the edge of the cliff, but we told Brian like we're gonna get some really cool pictures, and he's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like what's that? Hey, we're gonna get cool pictures
makes it
worth it. What do you think that is? Like, cause for anybody,
like what's the driving?
Yeah,
factor?
What's the incentive? What's the like? You know what? Work can wait. You know what? that can wait. You know what? It'll be there when I get back. Because that's what I tell them when they say, well, I got this at work. I'm like, work will be there when you get back. You got 2 weeks vacation. They can't tell you when you can and can't take it. Take it. Let's go.
I feel like on hunts and trips, things like that, it's the fear of spending the money and then absolutely hating it while you're spending that money.
Yeah, that's a risk you got to take.
Maybe let's be honest, if I don't ever care to go on a sheep hunt, ever.
That's so.
If Lee Lakoski's like, hey, bud, you want to go on a sheep hunt? And the Crush TV will pay for it. I'm like, yeah, sure. If I suck, at least I'm not any money.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and that's what I've told guys, because that's another thing that there's like, well, are we going to kill anything? He's like, I don't know. Maybe. Do you know how many hunts I've been on where nobody killed anything, whether I'm filming or hunting myself?
Right.
A bunch.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
It's a fear of failure that you want to be like, oh, I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. I know what I'm going to get. I know all the things.
there's something about this job.
Chuck just said the self-confidence muscle with the.
If there's something this job has taught me, it's that no amount of money can guarantee you an animal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt.
No amount of money.
No. And if there's
I don't know the amount of money people spend on those governor's tags. I mean, that kind of
Yeah, but still,
that'll
I
do
mean,
it.
we've been on hunts that cost half of our salary and we leave empty-handed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, at
And
that point,
just to do it again.
yeah.
Just to do it over
Oh,
and
we'll
over
be
again.
back in 10 days.
Yeah.
See ya.
I think also there is like you said, like you've said time and time again, like what you're looking for is people who are good people and fun to be around.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a level of optimism that makes a lot of these things, makes a lot of that like fear of failure kind of go away, right? Because like for me, I will find something to enjoy about almost anything. I know that
Mule deer hunts in the backseat of a truck.
I didn't like it for 30 days.
Snacks,
Right,
exactly.
Like I know that if I go into a new situation, I'm okay with whatever. Like I'm gonna try to find something to have fun, or even if it sucks, like the type 2 fun.
Mm-hmm.
You just have sometimes when it sucks, you just have to convince
I've
yourself
had a
that
lot of type 2 fun.
that the story is
I
good.
have.
The story of how terrible it was.
I've done a lot of type 2 fun with you.
Yeah, you dragged me into a lot of it,
You're
and I
bad
keep going
luck.
back.
You're bad
And
luck.
No, I'm not.
That my audad. So I hunted with him. I've hunted with him like 4 or 5 times. The audad, he stayed at camp. I killed within 5 minutes. I said, "It's you, Ryer. It's freaking you."
I don't think so. I think it's you.
It's I wasn't me. I
don't
killed.
know. I think you just don't want me to get like good footage of your stuff. I don't know.
That would have been the baddest footage we got too. It would have been.
Did you kill with your bow?
No.
Oh.
If I go back, I'll take my bow. Yeah. I won't
Mhm.
take a gun next time. I won't be tempted. I just won't kill something.
Mhm.
There you go.
But Winter Productions did say Clay hit the nail on the head. I let bad hunts at a young age, working with people, make me hold back when I got older. So, I mean, Chuck's about to start a podcast one of these days. He just had a real good hunt
Oh yeah.
in
Yes, he
Nebraska.
did.
Who's he filming for?
He's not filming for anybody.
To give it to us to edit?
He's not. No,
I'm not touching
He's
the
No.
got a
footage.
giant monitor on the
No.
top of that thing.
That's because he's old and he can't see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Just making sure. I didn't know if
I hope he's
he was
still
I
listening.
didn't know if he was a new employee. or
No,
what
he
was that.
he went to Oklahoma, the place he hunts in Oklahoma, and they had a big deer showing up that his buddy was going to shoot. And he's like, "I'll go sit with you and film you shoot this deer, and then I'll go hunt my deer." And of course, it never works out that way.
No.
But he's a whole master filmer now. Oh my goodness, sounds good, bud. I can't afford Chuck's day rate though; he's expensive.
Mm.
Can't afford the little Debbie truck that comes with him.
Yeah, follows him around.
But yeah,
I think you have to say yes, and you have to be a silver linings person.
yeah. Oh yeah, you
Like,
got to be for
gotta
sure.
You got to be okay going into things knowing that you don't know how it's going to go, and that you kind of have to go into it with like positive expectations, right? Like you got to be excited to go do it, but not so high of expectations that if it doesn't go according to them, that you're going to be disappointed. And also be able to find silver linings in things.
Yeah. Well, you got
Because
to.
it's nothing will ever be what you think it's going to be ever.
Sometimes it will be much worse, and sometimes it will be better than you could have imagined.
Right.
I've had both scenarios.
And you just have to know, okay, well, if it's a good one, well, it's easy to find a silver lining. It was freaking baller.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a bad one, it's probably going to be more difficult to find a silver lining. But there's lots of like experiences, good or bad, are always useful.
Yeah, you can always learn
and
from
you
them.
always walk away with I think if you have the right mindset, every experience is a good one in some way. Whether it was because it was just fun, whether you had success, or you failed but you learned something, or you learned that, oh, I can do that thing, or I learned something new.
I met someone new.
Met someone.
I
I got to
learned
see something.
new. Yeah, see something, experience something, a culture, a place, a time, a
Heck,
a
even if
season,
you-
or whatever.
Even if you hated it, even if you hated all of it, you still did it, and you could be like, well, I did it, and I didn't like it. I can't.
Yeah.
I won't like be on my deathbed going, well,
Like chicken livers.
What if I had tried it?
Like chicken livers.
Right.
You tried them. You didn't like them.
I didn't. But I might try them again. I don't know. Every time I'm like, yeah, maybe it was a bad one. But then I'm gonna, because I'm kind of stupid sometimes, so I'll be tricked twice. But that's my biggest fear is being on my deathbed and being like, man, I should have tried that,
Yeah.
or not even knowing what you should have tried.
Well, even
You
like
know?
like on that mountain lion hunt that we did with Lee. I mean, I personally hated that hunt just because it was a lot of driving around and we got out of the truck like twice.
Mm-hmm.
But we came out of that like, yo, if we ever had to do a documentary on a mountain lion hunt, like this is exactly how we would do it. Like, and there's a lot of those hunts that.
Or we got to see, like, I can say I didn't particularly enjoy the driving around in the truck part, but
No.
once we got on the mountain lion, that was fun.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things like just in the filming and hunting that the trips that suck is when I learn the most, because it's like, okay, I won't bring this piece of gear again, or I'll pack this next time, or I'll dress this way next time, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So I take a lot of those types of things from those hunts or those trips or whatever it is.
Well, every experience is useful.
Right.
It's and especially if you come at it from a mindset of trying to learn things,
Yeah.
trying to learn and experience things. Sometimes the experience is just the experience. Like you don't, the value of it was having experienced it.
Right, like your goal when you go into those things shouldn't always be like, oh, we have to whatever kill this animal or this size animal or this or that. It's like, yo, like if you're gonna go on your first elk hunt, like let's just learn the area,
Yeah.
and if we run into an elk, then awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, at least when we go back next time, we don't have to spend that trip learning the area. We can actually hunt next time.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, I need to learn next time I come out. I need to know how to shoot further, or I need to wear better clothing, or just whatever it is, just being hunting specific right now, but learning something for your next time. Because if you're going to go on something and then not plan to ever do it again, you're kind of, I mean, if you go and don't like it and never want to do it again, then that's fine. But to go with the preconceived notion that I'm just going to go this once and then never have to do it again, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, and I mean, at least you did it. I mean, there's definitely things like foods and whatever that I've tried, and I know I don't want to eat that again. I know I don't really want to do that thing again, or I know that I probably wouldn't want to go to that place again, but I can't say that I didn't go there.
Yeah.
Right.
You did, now I just know a little bit better
Yeah.
about this, that, or the other. Or, you've got that, well, this, I didn't really like 90% of it, but there was this 10% I did like. I wonder how I can do more of that thing. I wonder how I can harness that.
I think it's just got so much to do with, I don't know, my mindset on saying yes. I guess it is. I'm gearing it more towards like adventure and new places, new hunts, new
Yeah.
experiences. But my view on it, and this has been my view for the last 10 or 15 years, is okay, you only get one chance at this life. And Chuck's got a really good take on it too. He's like, because Chuck's dad passed away when he was 57, I think, if I remember right. And Chuck goes and does all the time. He hunts, he experienced his life. He has tons and tons of friends. Like Chuck is a very, very well-rounded, well-traveled guy.
He's a lot smarter than what people give him credit for.
Yeah, and he's one
I
of my
hope he's not
favorite.
listening when I say
Yeah,
that,
no,
but-
well, which he knows he's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. But Chuck's whole take on it is he's like, if something were to happen to me and I were to die at 57 like my dad, he said, I'm going to have lived enough lives for 3 lifetimes. And that hit hard to me because it's like, okay, I've now got to experience in the hunting world and the traveling world what most people wouldn't get to do in 3, 4, 5 lifetimes. So I look at it as like, okay, well, I'm extremely blessed in that aspect. And hopefully all goes well, continue to be blessed by getting to go and do more things, meet more people, have more experiences, keep creating a team that I like to be around, I like to work with, but at the same time, still not being satisfied. Like I was explaining to my wife the difference between being happy and being satisfied. Like I am happy. I'm not satisfied. I'm never satisfied because I always feel like there's another place to go. There's another project to get. There's another, in I guess metaphorical terms, another mountain to climb. There's always another goal. And once I meet this goal, it's like, okay, goal needs to get bigger. And I don't know who said it, but it's like if your goals aren't big enough, if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Right.
And that's exactly kind of how I view life and business and everything. It's like I'll spend every dime I have if it gives us another opportunity to get bigger.
Well, if you're not out of your comfort zone, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not living life. And I think you go back to like what a lot of guys say, like people like Joe Rogan and those kind of guys that everybody looks up to. And they go, well, why is everybody miserable? Yeah. And it's because people get, like you said, complacent and they're not struggling. And our modern lifestyle doesn't just like inherently give us struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is designed to give us ease and convenience. And you have to go and seek that struggle so that you can find fulfillment. I think that at the base level, humans have this, have a desire to be learning and exploring and pushing themselves and struggling. That's why even if like you really just want to sit on the couch and do nothing all the time, you watch a good sports movie about somebody who's overcome the odds, and you get inspired because I think at a base level, we maybe have tricked ourselves into thinking that we're not like this, but I think everybody wants to have some kind of struggle. And if you struggle inherently is discomfort. Mm-hmm. And if you don't find yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable or feel like you have to extend yourself mentally, physically, or emotionally in order to take on the task that you are doing, then you're just sitting around in life and you're going to be unhappy. Well, you can convince yourself that all of the all the conveniences will make you happy, but they never do. Yeah. It's the struggle. That's why people like ultra wealthy people, they have so much money. It's not even like money isn't even a they could buy whatever the heck they want. Yeah. It's not the money. It's the pursuit of it, the struggle of it, the challenge of it, the puzzle of trying to figure out how to always be getting the money or getting the success.
But
right?
my thing is, it's like, even beyond that, it's like, if you don't encounter some sort of struggle, or say you do, it makes that time that you sit on the couch that much sweeter, because it's like, okay, I've done this thing, and it makes, like, I hate, and I've talked about this, like it's harder now, and it'll continue to get harder for me to be gone a long time because of my kids. Mm-hmm. You know, and my wife. I love my wife. I love my kids, and it's hard for me to leave. But I can't do the things that I need to do for work, want to do in my life, unless I go. I can't do them here. So, but it makes that struggle, being away from them and all that much sweeter when I do get to come home. There's, and to try and figure out a situation where there's going to be no downside to saying yes to something, there isn't. There's always, it's the law of sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice your time. You got to sacrifice your money. You got to sacrifice something to get something else. There's no perfect scenario. And I think that's another thing guys are looking for. It's like,
Well, also
go ahead.
I think this is an interesting thought I just had. You're always saying yes to something. Saying no to something is saying yes to something else. Right? So if you say you ask somebody to go on a hunt, well, they could say yes to going on the hunt, but if they say no to going on the hunt, they're saying yes to something else. Right? So I think analyzing what is it that you're saying yes to. Because you're always saying yes to things, even when you are saying no.
I got another caveat I got to throw in this. The person that makes me the maddest is the better deal guy. He'll never give you a yes or no. He'll give you a maybe to see if he gets a better deal somewhere down the road.
Mm.
That makes me so mad. Is the guy that's like, don't give that spot away yet. And then they'll call you the day before. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm going to go with so and so. Because they seem to have a better yes than your yes. Like the guy that's always on the fence. I'd rather you tell me no. I'd rather you say, you know what, dude, I want to go really, really bad. I can't afford it right now. It's like every other excuse I've ever heard. I'd rather you tell me no than to try and better deal me. You know, and I've been guilty of better dealing somebody before. I have. I'm not going to say I haven't.
Or they drag you along to the point that you can't wait any longer,
Yeah.
so you just choose somebody else. Then they don't have to tell you no.
Yeah.
You said no for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes me mad. Very, very much so. But I just know of so many opportunities that I've extended to people that have found an excuse not to go. And then I extend an opportunity to you and to you, and I feel like we've done some great stuff. I feel like we've made the most of it. Do we have as much time to ourselves as we like? No, none of us do. You know, but at the same time, it's like.
But that's the thing is when, like what I was saying is, so, I'm heading out for 10 days tomorrow to go to Montana, right? In theory, I can't really say no because, I'm obligated to go to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could say no, I could just quit, but, I don't, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But say it was just a scenario,
Yeah.
right? I could say yes to going to Montana, and I'm going to meet a bunch of cool people. I'm going to get to see a part of Montana I haven't seen, get to go see some lodges I haven't seen. You got the one guy who's coming who's from an entirely other, a whole other country. So
Spain,
I didn't know how much we could divulge about it.
Yeah.
But, I get to meet a guy who's from Spain and talk to him like his family apparently runs the bullfighting rings.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Like, how often do you get to meet somebody who knows about that and you can just ask them questions, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying yes to. Or I could be here and I could, have 10 days to hang out with people and, go to the breweries on the weekend and watch a few more episodes of my Netflix show, and maybe sleep, maybe ride my bike, whatever. Like,
but
I could say yes to that.
You could.
And both of those,
Yeah.
somebody might go, I'd rather go to all the breweries and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's cool, but then you don't experience this.
Yeah. But here's my thing.
So what are you saying yes to?
The Montana is temporary. Those
Right.
things you can do those anytime.
Sure.
You can always work. You can always see your family. You can always go to church. You can always do all those things that are the excuses. Those things aren't going anywhere. And God forbid they do. This opportunity it's finite.
Right.
It's not going to be there forever.
Well,
It's
look at BC last year when Ryer and I went. It sucked.
Mhm.
Like that might have been just the biggest pain in the butt trip I've ever been on. Ryer has the opportunity to go again this past summer on the bear hunt and meets all those people from Black Rifle. And then him and I, when we're in Utah, go on Black Rifle, and it's like he's worked there for 6 freaking months. Hi to this people, hug from this person, free knives from this guy. Here's our coffee bar. Here's some
We
free.
didn't get any free knives.
But just still, like,
yeah.
it act like he worked there for 6 months. 'cause-
It's like, I've been to BC. It sucked.
So, I mean, half of it's, your trip's probably going to suck, but there's a lot of trips that have sucked that we've gone on that we've met people like Jason.
Yeah.
Where we met Jason
Yeah.
was no bueno.
Yeah, Jason.
But
Yeah.
look at Jason. Jason, we just spent
Nobody knows, right?
2.5 weeks with Jason cooking for us at Lee and Tips.
Oh, shut your mouth when you're talking to me. I told Jason.
I had 3 different trips. I had 3 different trips. Not that I really want to go back to Iowa. I like going to Iowa for the people that are in Iowa. I don't like sitting in stands looking at.
He had to sit in a tree stand in Florida one time, and he
I
moaned about it.
No, I didn't. I didn't moan about it.
See, when I made the schedule, I didn't let him go till January going to Iowa. I got him there.
Speaking of, where's my harness? I need my harness before I go to Kansas. You had it last.
I put it in your truck, I thought.
Right here.
Oh, it might be in the. Remind me to check my backpack. It might be there.
I'm reminding you to check your backpack.
Not now. I'll forget. I don't. It's probably. Yeah. I think I shoved it in the back of my backpack because we had to go trounce around the friggin' swamp.
Matt said a quote that I've heard before is like, if the cost of success seems too high, wait until you get the bill from regret. That's my thing.
That's
thing
deep.
is like you only live once. It's like I don't want to wake up one day, 65 years old, and can't get around like I'd like to, and be like, hey, somebody calls me to go on an awesome bow hunting elk trip. It's like, well, I can't now.
I wish you had asked me 30 years ago.
I can't. Yeah, but I did ask you 30 years ago, and I said no.
Yeah.
Who's that on? You don't get any time back. You don't get the time back.
Right.
You know, and the way this world's going, I mean, we don't know how much longer we have the rights that we have. I mean, the way things are going, you could lose them. You know, so if you don't take opportunities,
You can't count on anything. I mean,
you can't. Yeah, exactly.
You could die tomorrow in a tragic car accident.
100%. It's like, dude, you got to just go. You got to quit making excuses. And if you don't go now,
that would suck.
if you don't go now, you're not going to go. And that's my thing is like, if you keep saying no, if I ask you 5 or 6 times and you keep saying no, then you're never going to go.
Or about the time you are ready to go, you're not going to get asked because you said no to me.
100%.
Or if you're a negative person. I had this conversation with somebody is like, you know, I go and do a lot of things, and there's just some people I won't invite to do all the things, and then they're like, well, you went to this place and that place, and you didn't invite us to go along? Well, because
you're not the person I want to spend my time with.
Yeah, if we go do something that, you know, is out of your comfort zone a little bit, or isn't is something that maybe is more preferential to me.
Clay's guilty of that sometimes.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, when Taylor and I first got together, she's like, Ryer's out doing this thing. I saw it on Instagram. I'm glad he invited us. I was like, he doesn't invite me because he knows 90% of the time I'm going to say no. So why would I waste his
Speaking
time?
of, I'm going to put you on the record where as long as there's not something going on, then if we do the January 1st skeet shoot at the house, you're coming.
I'm not good.
Oh, hey.
I'm not good. I'm not going to win.
I did the skeet shoot, and I think I had shot a shotgun a total of 3 times before that. And I got up there, and I missed every single one of them.
I didn't go when I lived there.
Oh, come on, Clay.
Hey, would you go
Killing me.
roller skating, though?
100%.
Show him.
Bruh. Dude, I went rollerblade. Look at that.
Yes.
I got I got rink burn because I was, you know me, I can't just
That's
chill.
rink burn? That's not from asphalt? That's from a smooth surface?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a rink. We were in one of the
How
roller
fast
rinks.
were you going?
I was hauling.
They still have those open?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one in Lawrenceville.
There used to be one in Gainesville. It just went
I
out
don't
of
want to
business.
brag, but
No, okay, well, here's the
go.
thing, is I started with the roller skates, the 4.
oh yeah, those are
Because
those
I
are
had never
booty.
done those before. I was like, I'll try it.
Those are booty.
See, me going, I'll try the thing.
Those
I had
are
never,
booty.
I had
The
never
pota-
done
the potato
rollers.
skates?
Yeah, I'd never done the roller skates, and I went, I'll try it just to see. Well, they freaking suck because you can't. You gotta be flat-footed. And I'm
Yeah.
sure if I would have,
you believe it or not are too athletic for flat skates.
well, I know there's a way to do it because there's some guys
Right.
doing the chill thing where they were like doing the fancy.
Dude, my
beat
favorite is like
skating.
this old dude.
Yeah,
that
and
got
they're
the
just-
groove, man.
Which I want to do. I would love to know how to do that.
I want
But I'm-
to see you do that so bad.
Dude, I was sitting,
like a silk fit with bell bottoms on.
and you know that I would be
Oh my
smooth
God.
as crap. But I wasn't smooth. I was not having a good time. I couldn't turn nothing. So finally,
Did you just slide or did you just slide or did you literally go like
no,
ass
okay.
over
So,
tea kettle?
then I went, okay, you know what?
I hope you wrecked hard.
I'm tired of this because I know that I can do blades, and I want to go fast. Because I don't do well at chilling. I don't have a good medium speed.
27-year-old man gets kicked out of roller rink for shouldering kids
Just
into the
monster trucking kids.
I'll tell you what, I almost monster trucked a couple, and it wasn't my fault. They just
That's
They
why
be
I
going
don't
and
go
they
skiing.
fall. They
I don't do
fall.
skiing because of that.
I love skiing.
I did skiing one time, dude, and I trucked so many people because I couldn't stop.
I
Dude,
did that
my
sledding. You
my
go to a
right
sledding
leg,
hill?
my right leg just cutting and moving, left leg nothing.
Lip fish.
Got nothing. Don't understand it. Can't get my left leg to do nothing.
I
So,
love
anyways,
skiing.
I went and did the rollerblades, and I had rollerbladed before, so I'm not like a hockey player out there, but I'm decent
Right.
enough. So I'm going around and just kind of getting comfortable with it. Well, and just like I said, I got to go fast, so I just keep going faster and faster and faster. And I'm just seeing, where is it? How fast? How smooth can I get this?
I can see
Like
Ryder's
how-
eyes just getting bigger the faster he goes.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
And so I fell twice. The first time it wasn't too bad. I was coming into a turn
Come out
and
from
I
underneath
just
you.
no. I think I was trying to. I think there was just some stupid kid or something falling
In the
and
slow lane?
Yeah,
Some
and-
stupid kid.
And so I just kind of no. What it was is I was kind of trying to chill, and I lifted up a little bit, which you can't do. You got to keep your weight exactly over the skates, and I kind of went like this because I was just like, oh, I got this. I got a little confident.
And he did
chill.
the
And I went like this, and it was just kind of a side slide. But then,
The second one was a sniper.
no, the second one, do you know what I thought of when I fell the second time? I was like, this is almost exactly how I fell. Like, it must have looked the same as when I fell in Montana when you were walking behind me.
Dude.
Because I was
God, I
going.
wish
I
I
was
had that.
freaking going. I was moving. I was feeling good. I was real confident. And then I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. But the next thing I knew, and I was wearing this like blue wig, these aviator sunglasses, and of course I had my phone clip on.
Oh,
And
so it's like a Halloween thing?
Yeah, and so I fell. I remember hitting my chest bumped the freaking floor hard, slid. My sunglasses come off my face, and my phone came out of the clip
Dang.
over.
That's a lot of momentum right there.
250 pounds of dude going however fast I was going. And then I had to sit down for a second and just really evaluate myself and go, okay, you need to calm down. You're going to get yourself real hurt. But I don't have a good safety mechanism. I basically
There's
I
there's no real brakes on those things. It's kind of
Well-
like a jet ski. You just kind of got to let off the throttle a little bit.
Feather it a little
my
bit.
my safety mechanism is once I start falling, then I've reached the limit.
That's
But
the
then-
way.
But then I fall and I'm like, okay, well that's the limit. So that we ease up to it and
Yeah.
then we just keep pushing. We just see.
That's the way I stopped skiing. Is I just had to lay down. That's the only way I'm stopping.
Well, I still can't stop on the rollerblades. I just kind of coast into the
You gotta
sidewall and
drag
just
the front
check it.
toe. Drag the front toe.
Okay,
front
well
wheel.
we'll go. We'll go and you can show
we're
me.
going. I'm going to be spectating because I will get hurt.
No, you
I
don't
will
have
be
to get
one.
out
No,
there.
no.
We'll put him on the roller skates. You could have the little forward.
So they have the walkers
It-
out there with the 4 wheels. You know what's funny, though, is I can't ice skate.
See, I'm pretty
What's
good
the
at ice
difference?
skating.
I don't know, but I can rollerblade with the best of them. I can't ice skate. No idea.
I would think those would be very
can't.
similar.
I can't.
Because don't those guys that practice hockey in the summer do it on rollerblades?
Yeah, they
Also, when
play,
I
yeah.
grew up in Colorado, there's like, you would have the ice hockey,
Roller hockey.
and then a lot of guys would play roller hockey. Like that was a big sport.
yeah.
I don't think anybody plays roller hockey out here.
No, I don't
None.
know.
It's not
But it's
fun.
kind
There
of the same
actually is
thing as-
there's a dad on Mary Taft's soccer team of one of the kids who actually goes somewhere and plays ice hockey here.
I'm sure there's an
He's
ice
from
rink
Michigan. And he
Right.
was telling me
Yeah.
because he had like bruises all over him. I'm like,
Right,
dude, you get in a fight? And he's like, no,
Gainesville
it was
are coming.
hockey. And I'm like, well, what?
Probably Gainesville are coming. I'd have
I
to
think
guess.
he's in Lawrenceville are coming, I think is what he said.
Yeah, I would imagine they're somewhere.
Hmm.
But anyways, Clay, we'll go.
Okay.
It's fun. We got to go at night though when there's not kids. Like that's what's the hardest. Like if you can get going, you're
18
fine.
plus skate.
Yeah, it's the freaking little kids, and nobody's watching them. Nobody's watching them. You got a kid who's like this tall, 30 pounds soaking wet, can't stand up on the skates. Where are the parents? The thing is just wandering in and out.
Where
it's
are
gonna,
the parents?
It's gonna get taken out.
Whose kid is this?
Like if it was my kid, I'd at least be
He
there.
just caused the 19-person pile up.
Well, I mean, you got somebody like me rolling around. Like I'm not trying to hit a kid, but at the same time,
But it might happen.
You will if you have to.
I'll take. Look, I'm not a monster. I'll take one for the team. I'll hurt myself real bad before I hurt a kid on purpose.
Oh,
But like, if I have a kid and I know that there's people skating around,
Hug the wall.
and I know that the kid doesn't
Speaking
know
of
how to
hugging the wall, did you
skate.
see that NASCAR dude?
That's
That has
Ballsy.
been all over.
That's
Dude,
a ballsy
just
move.
That if nothing else, that guy's got so much play from that. He's gonna get more sponsor dollars just from that. Like it's a freaking ballsy move.
I've
Go
seen
for
it all over TikTok.
Oh,
for
it's everywhere.
I
5
want to know how
days.
that conversation with the crew chief went. All right.
It's like, dude,
All right.
just send it.
So hear me out.
You want me to do what? I
don't
want
think
to know if it came from the crew chief or the
That's
driver.
what I'm
He's
saying.
like,
Like if you're the driver and you're like fifth place, you're like, all right, guys, well, it's gonna be
dude,
a good
no, didn't he
finish.
pass like 5 cars?
But I got this
Yeah.
idea, so just hear me out before you say no. I'm just gonna floor
wreck
it
the right
and
side of this car.
Yeah.
Look, I don't.
And then after you guys fix the car, I'll buy you a nice steak dinner. But it's gonna be trashed.
See, I've never raced NASCAR, but I've raced bikes, and sometimes you just think of things and you do them, and then afterwards, like that had a very slim chance of working and a
Success.
very large chance of absolute destruction.
Like you're
But
either gonna,
in the moment, you just get this sudden little piece of clarity. You're like, it could work, and
It could
and you
work.
send it, and if it does, you're a legend.
You're either gonna
If
look
not, it's
you're
real
gonna
bad.
look baller or like a complete idiot.
Anyway, yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, I don't watch NASCAR, but that guy, like, here's the problem. They're either going to have to outlaw that or that's going to happen
A
more
lot.
often now.
Yeah.
God bless him. That's
Probably
funny.
gonna outlaw that.
Oh, yeah, they have to outlaw that.
I'd like
Somebody's going to do it
I'd
accidentally.
like to see how they write that rule.
Yeah. Dude, fifth
No.
gear, hammer down, run into the wall, send it.
Wall slingshots do not engage. Shake and bake illegal.
Yeah. So, anybody got anything else on the saying yes? I think we covered it pretty well. I really wanted to talk about it just because there's some people that need to hear it. You know, there's guys that
I think so. I think it's noted. I think it should be noted that, especially if this is what you want to do for a living.
I'm
you
not even
need
saying,
to-
not
you-
even necessarily
yeah, no,
that.
No, but I think that like as a human, maybe let's just
Yeah.
say, your general default mode should be yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like that a lot.
Your default mode should be yes, and then, obviously you can't say yes to everything,
Mm-hmm.
nor should you. Obviously, you have to be a person and pay your bills and be responsible and stuff like that. But I think your default mode should be yes, and trying to figure out how to do it, and then go on, no, it's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But your default mode should be yes.
Yeah.
Your default mode should not be no. You should, like the Jim, what is it? Was it a Jim Carrey movie? Yes, Man?
Yes, Man was a Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah, which is a great movie. Very underrated, actually. Go watch that movie anyways. But it's basically about a guy who's been negative his whole life, said no to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then he physically can't say no.
Yeah.
And so because of that, obviously he gets himself into a bunch of weird situations. But overall, he realizes how much better life is when you say yes to things. And how many – it's kind of one of those things where if you're ready for opportunity, it will come,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you say yes to things, then all of this good stuff will serendipitously happen to you.
Yeah.
But it's not because like luck. It's because you've just put yourself in the position for those things to happen.
Yeah. And Tim just commented. He said it was the driver's idea. He just sent it. There's car audio of it. It's epic. So it was the driver's idea to do it. It's awesome.
See, that's the crew chief said yes. Somebody said yes.
Look at Ryer putting a bow on top right there at the end.
Crew chief said yes, and look, he's a legend.
He is.
Absolutely, for the rest of time. He may be the only person
He's
who
gonna
has
be
ever done that. And
He's
going to
be
that,
loved and hated by so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
you
he
should
said
be
he-
loved and hated by a lot of people.
True. All right. That's all I got. Peace.